Hello, everybody. I am Brandon Cruz, co-host of Apathetic Enthusiasm, a weekly pop culture, movie, television, video game, everything podcast, and also submitted for your approval a Twilight Zone recap slash discussion podcast. And with me today, I have a Game of Thrones, a fantasy game of leagues challenges of Thrones. Here is what the deal is. You have Game of Thrones, you have fantasy football or fantasy baseball, fantasy basketball, what other kind of fantasy games there are that are not geeky at all. Bob Carroll knows. But what we do is we draft a series of characters, 6 characters in this league per specifically, and those characters get points per episode based off of things they do. So you kill, you have sex, you get naked, you look ugly, you say something funny like I am not want to do, and you get points for it. Now, in our league, we have 6 teams. We have myself, of course, Brandon Cruz. We have my co host of Apathetic Enthusiasm, Travis Menard. We have my great brother in law, Robert Shower, and his wife, Lauren. And then, of course, we have Kris Randazzo, editor in chief of geekade.com, joining us. First fantasy experience ever. I think he's not really sure what's going on, but he's doing great so far. And then finally, our good friend John Coffelt. We've known him for a long time, and he knows more about Game of Thrones than I probably intend to ever. Now, it's not my intent to drag these episodes on. These are supposed to be real quick snippets, real quick recaps, and of course, there are going to be spoilers. So, if you haven't watched the episode yet, I recommend you don't listen to this. Or you do, and you're like, hey, I don't care about spoilers. Travis does, so he probably won't listen to this. Okay, anyway, here's the difference mainly between the previous episodes and this episode. Previous seasons, they would get to the penultimate episode, they would do a great event, so they'd have like the Red Wedding, or they'd have the attack on Winterfell. They'd have all these things this episode before the end of the season, and then the last episode of the season, they would have kind of a recap the storylines twisting and twirling, saying, hey, this is where the season is going to go next season. This is where the characters are going to go next season. One of those things. In this season, the thing they did differently was they went ahead and they said, you know what? Let's leave the cliffhanger at the very end of the season. So Jon Snow, spoiler, is dead, gets murdered at the end of season 5. At the beginning of season 6, they show him he's dead. Okay, but they start moving and twisting like ants down a maze, and they start exploring all these different characters. We start off with, of course, Jon Snow, Sir Davos, and the lady in red, the woman in red, and they are now trying to figure out what to do with Jon Snow's body. They know that Sir Alistair Thorne, the new head of the Night's Watch, is pretty much going to slaughter him. So they have to figure out how to do that. They send one of their Jon Snow's trusted buddies to go find the wildlings, and they try to decide, well, do we want the Red Woman's help? Of course, this being the season premiere, they also go over to the next people, which of course are the Boltons. So you have Roose and you have Ramsay Bolton. Of course, one of them is kind of psychotic, and he basically says, hey, this woman wasn't afraid of me, so I love her. That's how I feel about Chelsea. She's not afraid of me, and she forces me to love her. I'm a slave. And of course, her corpse gets fed to the wolves, hounds, wolves, whatever. Now we move on to Sansa and Reek out in the woods running away, and they're getting chased by the hounds. Total Mr. Burns moment there. But they are saved at the last minute by, of course, our favorite Captain Phasma, Brienne of Tarth, and Podrick. They save them. Brienne says, hey, I want to serve you. Of course, Sansa's like, okay, let's do it. And there you go. Sansa changes her mind, and now Brienne has a point in her life. Moving on, Cersei, Jaime. Cersei finds out that her daughter's dead. Okay, boo-hoo. Oh, yeah, okay, I guess you're the bad guy or something. Move on to Dorne. Doran gets killed by the Sand Snakes. I didn't see this coming. Actually, I did, because I don't know why that woman didn't kill him a long time ago, because he's kind of a jerk and she's kind of a badass. Um, but let's get away from there. Let's go back. Let's go to Tyrion. Tyrion, oh man, him and Varys, they're hanging out, buddy comedy. It's like bosom buddies. If you've ever seen that show, it's almost exactly like that, but not quite. It's similar, but not quite to bosom buddies or perfect strangers. In this case, Tyrion is Balky Bartokomous, or maybe Varys is. One of them is a foreigner. We head over to Marine. Well, not Marine. We head over to Jorah, Dario. They missed their woman, their blonde woman, and of course we see Khaleesi. Now she's with the horde, the Dothraki horde, a different Dothraki horde, because there's tons of hordes. It's so many hordes, so little time, and she tells him, "Hey, I am Khal Drogo's wife. He's dead. You have to respect me." And they say, "Yeah, of course we respect you. But guess what? You're going to go into a cave. That's where you'll stay forever, because you're a widow. And widows, they have nothing to live for." I hope that's the case with Chelsea when she killed me. All right, next. We go over to Arya. She gets her ass beat because she's blind. That's it. Scene from Daredevil. Travis mentioned that on our podcast, apatheticenthusiasm.com. And then finally, we go back to the wall. Melisandre, we find out that without her necklace, she is just an old woman. With her necklace, she's an attractive woman with nice boobs. Without her necklace, she is an old woman, probably not attractive, but with old boobs. So there's that. Overall, hey, the episode is great. There's a lot of stuff. I think maybe people are a little bit let down by the episode, but I think that has to do with, again, being the penultimate episode. This episode usually would have been the season finale of a season, but it wasn't. It's the beginning of the season, so people are expecting a lot more. But I think I'm pretty confident when I say that fans will enjoy it in the long run. I think there will be a lot of payoffs, especially for those who read the books, who don't have the complete luxury of knowing everything ahead of time. I'm looking forward to it. What do you guys think? I'll give you a second. Thanks for letting me know. Let's get into fantasy. All right. Not just because I'm the host of this, but because I am the host of it and got lucky because I auto-drafted everything. I am the winner of this week. The Twilight Throne is my team name. I won with 100 points because I have Melisandre and I have Brienne of Tarth, and I get a shitload of points for it. I had 100 points, double the points of my next competitor, and that would be Travis, of course. We host a podcast, we host a site. That is not why we're winning, but maybe a little bit of that. I will put the scores in the below right here, I think. I don't know how to do that. Hopefully I will. And thank you to everybody who listens, who watches, and please tune in next week. I am Brandon Cruz, and this is a Game of Thrones Fantasy League. We'll see you next week.